Hi, my name is Chris York. I'm the managing news editor of Kyiv Post, and today we are joined by Nicolas Vukelja, who is the president of the Ukrainian Chamber of Commerce in Panama. Hi, Nicolas. Welcome to Kyiv.
Thank you.
And just give us a little overview of what you're doing in Kyiv at the moment and what you're hoping to achieve with the Ukrainian Chamber of Commerce.
Okay, first, thank you for the invitation. In the last 3 years in Panama, we are representing the Ukraine Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Ukraine. And so we were helping commercially Ukraine for business, bilateral relations and business between Panama and Ukraine and Panama. There was a big business trip last year from Ukraine to Panama for March, but it was stopped for the actual situation in Ukraine. So now we are back looking for our investors opportunity in Ukraine. And also this time we create the Ukraine Chamber of Commerce in Panama. So that way any investors or any people that are interested in Panama market, there is a chamber ready to receive you. And also backwards, if somebody from Panama wants to offer services or products in Ukraine, we are also available to be facilitators, Chris.
Mm-hmm. And what can Panama offer Ukraine?
Well, Panama, we're a tropical country, so we have nice fruits. We have pineapple, we have mango. My wife, she loves mango. Also, we have bananas. But yes, there's a lot of products that we're sure we can promote in Ukraine. Outside of fruits, we have some technology that maybe we can apply here. We have doing some research also what Costa Rica and other countries offer actually to Ukraine. So we are trying to see what we can also offer in this market for Ukraine. We have the Panama Canal, of course. So logistics is very easy and very affordable in Panama. So yes, there's a lot of products and companies that they want to expand in Ukraine. Also, we are very knowledge in maritime and shipping business. So we have investors looking forward to do some shipping and some logistic projects here in Panama. And that's why we are having this first commercial visit as a chamber this week in Kyiv, to see what's happening in Ukraine, what's open in Ukraine, what's available right now in the short term and in the long term, Chris.
You mentioned shipping is obviously very important in Panama with the canal. Overnight there was another Russian drone attack on Odessa, one person killed and some more port infrastructure was damaged. From an investor point of view, especially in the maritime sector, like what effect are those Russian attacks having on that?
Well, yeah, that's something very delicate. It's very about that. Like I mentioned, there are some projects or some investors that are looking for in the long term. That, of course, there's a situation in the Black Sea that needs to be solved. But of course, there's still some logistic business that can be developed. Also, not only you have access by sea, you also have borders with other countries. That's very normal here. I'm sure you're still getting products other ways that not only by sea. So I think there's a good opportunities for local investors. Also, there's some products and services. For example, I was yesterday in a conference and a fair of Retail Association, and there was a lot of IT apps and marketing softwares that can be done right now. That you don't need the ports or access to the sea to this type of business. So there are things that we can actually do right now. How's Ukraine situation right now? And like I mentioned, there are some things that will come in the long term, Chris.
Mm-hmm. And how difficult is it to get people to commit to investing at the moment? Obviously, there's an ongoing war. People can see the damage that's happening in Odessa every day. Like, are people still eager to get involved, or are you having to work extra hard to convince people that it's worth it?
Well, right now, this is this visit is like exploration. On Monday, I have a meeting. I had a meeting with Ukraine Invest. I have a meeting. I'm meeting with some pharmacies this week. On Friday with Advanced Ukraine. I'm also visiting your newspaper, because 2 months ago we have the first Panamanian Ukrainian Business Forum in Panama. Kyiv Post was our major sponsor in media sponsor. We have 130 people in that event. We have 10 embassies. We have ministers from Panama. We have Mr. Andrei Melnik. He spoke very good Spanish in this conference. We have the lady ambassador for Panama, Oksana Dromareska, and the Minister of Economy. So it was a very good event. And the momentum of this event started to show interest of Panamanian doing business and looking for opportunities here in Ukraine. And sometimes in the worst moment of a country, it's the best time to start making connections. You don't need to wait that the situation ends or the war ends to start coming here. We are all waiting for the good news. So the next day we can say, okay, let's start making business. So that's the most important thing about this trip, Chris, to make a, how you call it, like a route, business route, and already have set up with the contacts, with the connections. So, and to see what we can start making right now, and later in the long term, what we can do.
Mm. And you mentioned earlier about what Panama can offer Ukraine, but what about the other way? Like, how important is Ukraine to Panama?
Well, Ukraine has a lot of influence in Panama. Our fertilizers, 80% come from Ukraine, and some part from some neighbors. So agriculture depends a lot. I represent a group of investors that they're looking forward to see what's available in grains. Of course, your major client is Europe, Africa, and this area. But you need to keep an open mind. Maybe Panama will be a next new market. And Panama is in the middle of America. We have in the middle, we are in Central America. We have a Panama Canal. We have vessels that can arrive easily in both oceans. So for logistic, there's a lot of things that Ukraine can offer for Panama. Also, let's don't think about only Panama. Panama can be a hub, a logistic place to move products and to distribute products to other regions in America. So, and Panama, we use the dollar, that's very stable. We have a very stable government. We have all these facilities. The facilities to do business in Panama, I have been involved in a lot of learning about the facilities to make business in Ukraine. They're very similar, same tax benefits, all these, anything that is needed to start up a business, the same benefit that Ukraine is offering for new business here, we are offering also in Panama. So yes, also we're also interested about, of course, that's in the long term, steel products. Panama is a big consumption of steel. We have a lot of construction in Panama. Of course, I'm sure locally you're going to have your local demand. So yes, there's a lot of products that you produce here as bread basket. You have a lot of grains here. I'm sure you do a lot of food. And so there's a lot of food that can be put in Panama market. If you're already selling something made in Ukraine, in Europe, that automatic is value to come to Panama market. If you have a certification, quality certification of your products that permit you to go to Europe, there's no problem to bring that product to Panama. Mm-hmm. That can be sunflower, honey. The honey of Ukraine is very famous. And I'm sure other products that can be very interesting for Panama, Chris.
And just on a slightly separate topic, we know that Russia is trying to make inroads diplomatically and also with propaganda and disinformation, particularly in countries like Brazil, South America, and perhaps Central America. Can you just give us a little overview of what that situation is like in Panama?
Well, Panama, like I mentioned, we have the Panama Canal. It was built by U.S. government. The U.S. government just left Panama in 1999. So, but there's a lot of presence of the United States government in Panama. Also, we have the dollar. We have more than 50, 60 banks. So Panama right now, from the start of today, we're 100% supporter of Ukraine. Each time there's a vote of the UN, United Nations, Panama always vote on favor of Ukraine. And yes, we and locally I can say like a chamber of Ukraine, Panama, we have a big support, especially from the U.S. Embassy, the British Embassy. They are very strong supporters in Panama for us, the Poland and Canada also, and also Germany chambers and also embassies. They are big supporters in Panama. So and Panama, we always look in the news. We are informed. So if there's information or propaganda, no, you cannot see that in Panama. Of course, there's refugees arriving from Russia. There are refugees arriving, of course, from Ukraine, but they really stay very silent. They're not active because they know that Panama stands more for American, and we also we're a democratic country. So we are going to be up forward and supporting democratic countries, Chris.
And just to finish with, we've discussed mostly business here, but you've also got a very personal reason why you're invested in Ukraine, right? You just tell us a bit about that and why and how that kind of, powers your kind of mission, I guess.
Well, yes, my wife is Ukrainian. My first time here in Ukraine was 2021. So I like Ukraine. It was 6 months before the war. I was middle 2021. You cannot even expect that was coming a war. I fall in love with Ukraine. It's a very, very good country. I have a lot of friends texting me, "Hey Nick, how you find Ukraine?" And I say, this is unbelievable. People wake up in the morning here, go to work, they go to restaurants. In the night, they go for a little fun because everybody needs to go back home around 11. But there's a lot of good vibe. There's a lot of energy. You can feel in the air. There's a lot of courtesy. For example, 2 days ago, I got a cold, a flu, and I was trying to speak with a lady, and she didn't know English. So a guy came with a British accent, and he told me, "What you need?" I need some pills for my throat. And he told me, "Wait 5 minutes." He went to the next block, he buy me some pills, and he bring it to me. So that was very neat. And normally when there's a war or a situation in a country, you can feel like people are robbing or vandalism. Hey, I feel very secure here. Very, very secure. I have been walking the whole town since Saturday. And so, yes, I'm bringing good news to Panama. Now I'm willing to stay maybe another week because of course, you need to follow the security protocols, like the rates and everything. But yes, I can say that Ukraine is open for business, Chris.
Great. Thank you very much for your time, Nick. It's great to speak to you.
Always glad and looking forward for the next invitation.